I'm Captain the Untamed Oracle, and this is the weekly reading. No matter when you find this reading, whatever it is that you need, that your soul wants you to know, it will be revealed to you. Don't try to force this reading to fit. Just allow. I'm a Akashic record reader, but I am going to use my cards as well. But I will be channeling any messages that come through. And take a deep breath and let's see what comes up. And I hope that you get some answers, clarity, or guidance. I don't know how you found me. I'm not easy to find. I usually do these in the morning, but I'm doing something different because I got some medical stuff going on that I got to take care of, and I did not want to skip doing this reading for any reason. So let's get started. Welcome, 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 welcome. Let's see what we got going on this week. Oh, and because I am a white galactic wizard as well, that's my galactic signature, my readings are timeless. So even though I'm doing these weekly readings and I may mention astrological components of the energy, whenever you find this, there's going to be something in it for you. Almost guaranteed. All right. What message do we have for the collective this week? So the first card that we pull is Shattuckite. Shattuckite. And this beautiful crystal represents teaching or being a teacher. And I feel like I pulled this reading because those of you who are watching me, a lot of the life experiences that you have had was actually to help you to step into the element of being a teacher. And everybody ultimately can be teachers, right? But when you learn life lessons through experience, that's a very unique kind of teacher that you become. You become the kind of teacher that holds wisdom that is only attained through the fire. You are the person who holds this diamond consciousness because you have been put under pressure. And again, you rise from the ashes. But this doesn't mean that it always feels good, because sometimes you wonder to yourself, when am I going to stop having to go back to ashes? Why do I hit these rock bottoms? Why do I reach these forks in the road? Maybe other people's lives seem to have an element of simplicity that your life doesn't have. And that's something that is by design, because you're not here to have life experiences of NPCs, non-player characters. You are the main character, not just in your story, but you're called to shift the entire paradigm. And I know a lot of times we have a really hard time conceptualizing this, and it's because it's not something you can intellectualize. It's not something that you can make sense based on logical thinking and reasoning. It's something that you feel down inside of you, and you know that you are capable of teaching. Maybe you are someone that gives people advice, but are you learning from your own lessons? Are you willing to learn from your present life experiences, especially the ones that are challenging? And any relationships right now that are challenging for you, those people have a soul contract with you to be a teacher. All teachers don't teach like in this format. Some of our best teachers were people in which we received some form of trauma or abandonment or neglect. Had it not been for my experiences with narcissistic abuse, I would not have attained the wisdom that I had about narcissistic abuse. And so those who played a role in that, even if they were on the other side of that, they were the villain in the story. But we had a soul contract for me to have that experience. It doesn't matter if it was karmic or not. What mattered most was that I took that pain and turned it into purpose. that I learned something from it. And then I shared it with other people. And I taught that to my children. And I was able to not only be a teacher, but be a cycle breaker. And I feel like that's you. You don't have to think small about yourself, because that's what made other people feel comfortable with your presence. Maybe you were told you are a know-it-all. You think you know everything. You would know it all. Oh, you ain't never wrong, huh? You got everything right. You'll be surprised at the scripts that people subconsciously and unconsciously use to hurt us. It's a soul contract. And if they lack the ability to be mindful and self-aware in those moments, that's actually a treasure for you when you know how to use it, when you know how to perceive it, when you know how to respond when it's happening. Okay? So use that PRP that I've been talking about for years, that positive reframe practice. And just remember, some of the greatest lessons that I've learned was taught to me when people showed me their true colors. And I learned something about myself as well. That's priceless. That's a gift, you know, and it's something that many of us seek comfort. Everybody is looking for some form of comfort from things that have hurt them. And you got new teachers coming into your life as well. That's beautiful. I pulled the opal card. See that beautiful opal? Now, opal represents joy, okay? And I feel as if teaching brings you joy. It really does. It brings you joy. Just completely delete out of your mind moments where people, you was talking to them and it went in one ear and out the other. Or it was like talking to a brick wall. Completely forget about those moments. Just think about how much joy it brings you to know that you've learned something and that you can share that wisdom with someone else. That like makes you feel good. That lights you up inside. You know, and maybe it's time for you to own that. Like, don't brush it off. You know, don't be dismissive towards your own growth, towards your capacity to share wisdom. You are a wisdom keeper. This was encoded into your Akashic records. You are a very old soul. Your soul may even be older and more evolved than the people that you chose to be your parents in this lifetime. And this is why some of the things that your parents did, or your caregivers, or whoever raised you, whether you were in foster care or not, that's still a soul contract. And some of the things that you have experienced, it made absolutely no sense to you. And sometimes as a kid, that can show up as it's seeming like we're know-it-all. We got a smart-ass mouth. We talk too much. This is like the way the 3D matrix social construct prison planet perceives these things, so that we don't ever own our power, own who we are. And so when those things are said to you as a child, sometimes we'll actually pretend like we don't know what we know, because that was the only way we knew to feel safe. But that depletes your joy. And what once was a safe place for you is actually now a crime scene. And I think I mentioned that last week. And so yes, it once was a safe coping mechanism. But when you do the forensics on it and be honest with yourself, that's the fucking crime scene. You did the best you could in that situation. You made the best out of it. But you don't have to do that anymore. And if teaching lights you up and connects you to your soul, then do that. Forget about what anybody else might feel about it. Because your soul has a mission, and they don't have the instruction manual for that. Can't nobody tell you how to be you. Hell, you can't even tell you how to be you some of the time because you're still figuring that out. So do what brings you joy. It could be about anything. Maybe you know how to sew or know how to knit, or you know how to do things and you have minimized it. And there are people who would love to hear you talk about these things, to learn these things from you. And once you own that power, you will attract people and situations that will be an opportunity for you to share your skills or your wisdom or what you have learned. And I do feel like it's something that might be a little bit strange, a little weird, not the typical knowledge. You know, it could be more fringe. It could even be taboo, like whatever. We don't want to be clones of each other consciously, behaving and acting the same. You know, you might could teach about extraterrestrials and like 100% really feel deep down in your bones that what you're saying is accurate. But just because there are still a lot of people who think that we are only intelligent beings that ever existed, that's crazy, okay? It is. That's not me being judgmental. I'm just calling it like I see it. And we are not, that's like thinking that we know everything that's in the ocean. We don't know the half, right? There's so much we don't even know about our own body. And it's interesting that a lot of people who would probably be dismissive towards information that's not like mainstream and socially acceptable, especially supernatural stuff. It's interesting because you could ask them something about their mitochondrial DNA and they would have no clue. You know, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. You could ask them a question about quantum physics, jumping timelines. They would have no clue. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. They just don't know. And so keep that in mind moving forward. You know, maybe what you know is rare. That makes it even more valuable. And it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be weird. I had a catchphrase called Weirdo Gang Gang for years because I realized, like, okay, yeah, I'm that weird chick, I guess, you know. But that's not a negative thing, right? I'm just unique. And I didn't know that I was a Akashic record reader for a long time, so I didn't know why I knew what I knew. So I definitely was called a know-it-all and weird and everything else. But own that. That's the gift. And not only own it, but I want you to actually start taking the time to nurture that part of you and to make sure that that part of you is getting fed. Now, the next crystal that came up was orpiment. And orpiment represents success. So I feel like you stepping into this power is going to bring you success that couldn't be attained any other way. And of course, we want to frame success in the way that resonates with us, right? Because what's successful one may not be successful for another. Okay? That was beautiful. Thank you for that. Teach your shit. I be talking to my sisters out there, so I be saying sis. But if you happen to be watching me and it resonates and you a man, that's cool too. You got feminine attributes just like I have masculine attributes. We're both, right? But my focus is really speaking to the feminine because the feminine has just been through so much. And it's finally our time, you know, to be able to turn that pain into purpose and Turn that strife into success. Okay, Isis, what would you like to share for this week? Loud and clear. Beautiful. So this card, you notice she has a falcon. And I just feel like maybe you've been noticing spirit animals, especially birds lately. Just things that are kind of like out of the ordinary and not common. But there are certain periods of our life where we notice things more often than others. And so if you haven't been noticing, pay more attention and just give the intention for your third eye to notice messages maybe that you have been missing. Okay? So this card represents the flower of life. It says you are entering a fertile period of your life. You are guided to think of yourself as a creative being and to surrender your control over how things will manifest and instead allow them to do so. Don't resist change. Instead, go with the flow and let it happen. Now is the time for your blossoming. You got to breathe that one in, because when you have been disappointed and when you have felt like maybe you're not gaining traction, maybe you're not having the growth or the manifestations that you feel that you should, what it does it can collapse the heart chakra. And when the heart chakra is collapsed, that's the gateway to the spirit realm, and all of the experiences and the version of you lives through the heart. It's through the heart, through the language of the heart. And so if you could just breathe into the back of your heart right now, that usually helps to break through so that this information actually lands for you. And it don't go in one ear and out the other, but you're actually able to receive it. Because sometimes it's hard for us to receive positive messages because we don't want to be let down. We don't want to be disappointed. We feel like we can't handle no more disappointment. And what it does is it filters out the very thing that our soul is trying to awaken in us. And when you're in that kind of resistance like that, it's hard to see yourself coming into a season of fertile ground because your mind, not your heart, but your mind is stuck on the scarcity, the disappointments, the challenges, the lack. But a lot of that stuff, as I said before, it was once a safe place for you to think this way, respond this way, but it's not anymore. This is what you're coming into. So I talked about you teaching, right? So think of yourself as a creative being. Right? Surrender your control. You can't, manifestation is not about being able to control every aspect of our life, how it happens and when it happens. A huge part of manifestation that's often overlooked is the courage to just allow things to fall where they fall. And I get it. If you grew up in a home that was dysfunctional and there were things happening that was out of your control, one of the subconscious, meaning you're not aware that you're doing this, but the subconscious behavior that we have this pattern of cycling through is that of trying to control every aspect of life, because that's the only way that we know how to feel safe. But you can feel safe even when life seems to not be in your control. You can feel safe even when you have no idea how you're going to deal with something. You could actually do both. And that's an aha moment, because I didn't know that was possible. I was looking at things through a black and white lens. It's either this or that. And that's not true. There are infinite shades of gray in between the black and white. But black and white thinking is a side effect of complex PTSD, borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety, being neurodivergent. All of these things can create these schemas, these filters in which the mind uses to perceive things through. And so you're not able to really receive change because you're in resistance to change, and the resistance is being created by the constant desire to control everything, because you think the wounded inner child inside of you thinks that this is the only way I can feel safe. And it's not true. If you happen to be hyper vigilant, and you just notice every little bitty thing, every micro expression, people's tones, the way people are walking and stepping, like everything speaks to you. That you can use that and turn it into a superpower. But there's also a shadow side of hypervigilance, and it can cause you to expend a lot of your energy trying to control your environment to feel safe, when the goal is actually control your inner world, your inner environment, right? The environment, what's happening inside of you. And if you learn how to neutralize, and disarm tension and things in an environment, I call this the ambiance. Even if you actually sit and listen to an Om meditation or Om a few times yourself, just to re-regulate your nervous system. But if you focus on your own nervous system, irregardless of what's happening outside of you, then you will be able to release that control. You will learn how to let things go, let things flow. Because one thing about the divine, just like Mother Nature, is not something you can control without some type of backlash. And so some of the negative things that we experience in life is not because we don't have enough control, is that we're trying to control things we're not meant to control. And I found that to be one of the hidden root causes of my own chronic fatigue. Because of my hypervigilance, I would try to control environments, people's temperament, the way people were thinking about me, how they felt towards me. But that takes a lot of energy to do that, not just mentally, but physically. And so my nervous system wasn't getting the opportunity to turn the alarm off. It's like listening to a fire alarm. You at work and you have to listen to a fire alarm all day long, but you're still trying to be productive and you're trying to have specific outcomes despite this going on. Well, if there's absolutely nothing you can do about it to stop the fire alarm, but you still need to get work done, then the goal would be to find a way to soothe your nervous system, to create a shield around you, to create a force field around you, to quiet the internal noise or reduce the noise, reduce the way it's impacting you. So maybe you could use earplugs, literally, like stop listening to certain things that people say, certain advice that people give, certain things that people may point out about you or criticize about you or blame you for, like practicing tuning those things out, not trying to control the person, but controlling your how much attention you're paying to it. Because wherever our attention goes is where our energy flows. And if a lot of your attention is going to trying to control situations that are not controllable, then you're depleting your own energy at the expense of your well-being. And of course, you're going to be stuck in a cycle of experiencing scarcity. And so that's how you change that. Okay. Thank you, Isis. We're going to take one more from Isis. I just felt like I needed to knock again. Knock, knock. Who's there? Isis, what you about to do? I'm about to change some motherfucking lives. I'm getting the messages through. It's going to be coming through. Okay, Isis. Okay, no more. Okay. I was definitely not expecting this, but look at that. Look at that card. That card. Beautiful. So this card represents the cartouche. And this is like ancient Kemet knowledge. But it says this. It says, choose to release that which would lower your vibration into fear. This is releasing again. Something you just got to let go of. Something that takes you into a vibration of fear. And you just got to let go of it. And maybe it is trying to control the outcome. It says, come back to love. Stay true to yourself. And you shall inspire others to think or speak more positively when they are around you. Look at that. This is that teaching energy. Invoking the power of speech and words for your strength, protection, and spiritual growth will work effectively for you. So this is not trying to control something. This is, I'm not going to hide my light. I'm not going to hide my wisdom. I have went through some things, and I may not be in a position to feel like an expert, or I may not even be to the point where I feel like I've mastered myself to a certain extent. But there is a light inside of me. I have a soul, and it's infinite, and energy cannot be destroyed. It simply takes on new form. I have a solar plexus. That is literally the energy of the sun inside of me. I am the microcosm of the macrocosm. I'm a beautiful person. I'm not perfect, but I'm a very loving person. I've been hurt a lot, and I've learned from it. And I'm going to be speaking to myself in a more positive way because I deserve it. I deserve it. And by you altering your inner dialogue, your external speech starts to change, and your words will create a force field around you. I talked about this in last week's reading. Actually, if you didn't watch it, check out last week's reading. But I talked about the power of speech, because a lot of us have witch wounds. A lot of us who came back, especially during this time, and this is 2025, but we were once the wise women. We were the healers. We were the energy healers, you know. We were the high priestesses. We were the ones that would sing and chant and heal and work with herbs. We were the ones that spent time in nature to get messages and take it back to our tribes. And a lot of us lost our lives because of this. And so that witch wound affects you in your next incarnation. And one of the impacts that it has is you incarnate into challenging circumstances, family dynamics, relationships with people, where speaking your truth is oftentimes not something that is well received. And you can feel it and you know it. And sometimes it means, and you almost feel like, you don't know why, but you almost feel like some type of life sentence will be placed on you if you speak your truth. That's how heavy it feels, because it's a past life wound. You know, your 12th house can tell you a lot about your past life. You know, it's a past life wound. And so where you not speaking up because you haven't nurtured yourself enough to know that you're safe to do so, and you're not going to get burned at the stake anymore. That's over with. It's not happening. It's not happening. You specifically came back in this lifetime to be able to use all the knowledge that you learned across past lives and to not have the threat of losing your life because of it. It doesn't mean that you don't feel the fear, because until you move this witch wound through the body, you will feel the fear. And I'm speaking from experience. It's something that I have worked on for many years to heal within my own self. Even to be able to sit here and do this now, I had to do the work. So start by speaking positively to yourself, acknowledging this deep fear, choosing to come back to love, choosing to be your authentic self, and knowing that the people who are a vibrational match for this version of you will show up. And the people who are not, they will just lose their influence and their presence in your life. Oftentimes it's gradually, sometimes it's in an instant. But either way, like, it's all beauty ahead of you. Either way. All right. Thank you for that. What message do you have for us for this week? What message do you have for us for this week? Spirit, like I heard you the first time. Okay, yeah, okay, don't be, you ain't got, okay, I get it, I get it. Sometimes I repeat myself. That's a subconscious, unconscious thing from wounding, from not feeling heard. And so sometimes I repeat myself just because I still have that subconscious wound of feeling like people don't really value what I have to say, or people aren't really listening to me. Was I supposed to take you? I feel like I was. Let me take you. Beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's so beautiful. So as you can see, I pulled the High Priestess. Like I said, I know who I'm talking to. I can feel y'all. I know who I'm calling in. I haven't been doing these collective readings for a while, but this is the High Priestess card, and like this is like literally representing the initiation that you're going through. And if you accept this challenge, if you just take baby steps, you don't have to try to do it all and be it all. But one thing about a high priestess, she knows when it's time to release something, when it's time to let go of her hold on something. She doesn't waste her energy. She doesn't give energy where it's not being reciprocated. Okay? And she also represents that spiritual teacher within the feminine wisdom, right? And, your intuition is strong. Are you listening to it? Are you actively practicing listening to your intuition? And that can be triggering. That can be scary. Because sometimes, most times, intuition is the opposite of logic and reasoning. And we have been groomed and programmed in a very left hemisphere brain world, a masculine world. And so sometimes we're looking for logic, we're looking for reason. Even the things that happen with people that hurt us, you're like looking at it logically. You're trying to find a reason for it. Do not do that. Okay? If you've been doing that, cut it out, because it's just using up your energy. This is how we become a supply to narcissists. Okay? When you're leaking your energy by looking for reasons, trying to make things make sense, especially when people hurt you. A kind-hearted person, a person who learned to be a people pleaser, a codependent person, a person who learned to fawn, a person who was hyper responsible as a child, a parentified child, a child that had to grow up fast for whatever reason. We try to find reasons for stuff. We don't want to feel like we're doing something wrong. And sometimes we actually don't even want to feel like the other person is doing something wrong. We'll look for reasons. It's kind of like Stockholm syndrome as well. It's like, even though this person is hurting me, like, maybe the reason is because of how I looked at them. Or, I didn't cook dinner for the last week. Or I didn't do this or do that. If you've been doing that, like, let that go. All right. That's one of the things for you to let go of and surrender. And when you're a high priestess, but you have been ignored, gaslit, betrayed, like over and over again, lied to, sometimes that like gets inside of you and it disconnects you from feeling like you're capable of being that version of you who listens to intuition. And intuition isn't something like you just wake up and you just have. I mean, you can. But if you don't use it, if you don't practice it, it doesn't get stronger. Intuition is a muscle, and it has to be practiced. And while I still have the website, because I'm thinking about letting my website go, just completely scrapping the entire business and starting over, I will send out an email if I make that decision to do that. But while I do have the website, if you don't have my Mastering the Power of Your Sixth Sense free ebook, sign up for my emails and you will get that free ebook. Practice your intuition. You're going to need this moving forward because there isn't going to be a logical reason for anything that's happening, not just in your personal life, but even in the world. And so intuition is going to go a long way. Intuition is going to save us. And you want to protect your psychic energy. Don't allow your psychic energy to be used ruminating on something that happened. You have to put boundaries up for yourself and say, I'm not going to use my psychic energy to do this. Use it for something else, use it for something else. But you can't suppress this part of you, okay, without it hurting you. This part of you cannot be suppressed anymore. Okay, now I'm going to go to my self-care deck, because that is one of the biggest parts of this healing journey that was missing for me. I was not devoted to self-care. Self-care felt like a burden for me because I was often so tired and had so much to do. And so sitting down and doing my skincare routine, lymphatic dry brushing, lymphatic massages, getting on my vibration plate, getting in my sauna, using my infrared light, rinsing out my sinuses, which I do every day because a lot of us have dehydrated brains from all of the toxins and chemicals and stuff we interact with in the world, and many other things. The list could go on and on with inhaling stuff that I've talked about on Patreon for years. You can go there if you want to get the conspiracy theory about that. But those things felt like a burden. And it was because I didn't know that productivity, I was willing to expend my energy to be productive or to make money more so than take care of myself. And I didn't realize that my finances weren't going to increase until I started investing in my self-care, in my well-being, not external things outside of me that used to bring me more money. I am the anchor. I am the center of my world. I am the master of my reality. And if I am not well nourished and well taken care of, then that energy of scarcity, that energy of lack, that energy of self-abandonment is going to be attached to what I do, and it's not going to yield the results that it used to, because we're not on the old earth. The energy has shifted. A lot of the laws are shifting and changing. We're actually rewriting our Akashic records as we learn new things and devote ourselves to new habits. When I started to romanticize the things that I do, instead of looking at it like I have to do this because I have this chronic illness, chronic fatigue, and because I know all of these new things about how toxic this world is, I have to do this. And I dreaded doing it. But when I romanticized it, and when I got to the root of how important it was, and when I got to see that this was something that women before me in previous generations didn't really get a chance to do, and I watched how they left this world, and a lot of it was because of that lack of care, that lack of well-being. And so if I know that I am a generational curse breaker, then I can't just watch videos, podcasts, and read books, learn it, and know it. I have to actually embody it and be it and do it without it feeling heavy and feeling like a chore. I don't know who needed to hear that, but romanticize it. And when you're doing your stuff, be like, I ain't come to play, right? I'm a paradigm shifter. I'm a cycle breaker. I came to change things. When I take care of myself, I'm taking care of those that I love as well. And I'm creating a reality that's based around me being nourished, loved, well supported, cultivated, taken care of, not depleted, burnt out, and always feeling like I'm in need of something. You are everything that you need. Oh, look at this beautiful card. It says, listing what to do in advance. This is one of my favorite self-care things to do. I cannot function unless I do this. Life is so much softer when I do this. So let me share this with you. Listing positive things you can do when you begin to feel uneasy is a great way to support yourself in advance. Write a list of things you know soothe you when you are in need. Keep it with you at all times. When we are stressed, it is not easy to think of positive actions that will truly help. This technique will help you to take care of yourself in advance. Make the investment. If you open a CD deposit account, you're not expecting to withdraw the money out the next day. You know that it's going to be 5 years or more before you're going to be able to actually reap what you have sown. Why is it any different for you? Like, let's not put finances and our credit and things like that above our own well-being. Do it in advance. Be prophylactic. It's just like, set yourself up to succeed. So make your list. Do not wait. I want you, after you watch this video, make this a priority and actually follow through. And watch how great you feel that you actually made yourself a priority. You stuck to it. You followed through no matter what happened. You got it done. And just bathe in the way it feels to do that. And this will help you to complete tasks that you start, because I know it's probably a challenge for you to complete tasks that you start. Now, the self-care practice is to take 10 minutes to sit down in a calm and relaxed place, open a small notebook or your phone, I use both, and write down all the actions you know soothe you. It can be calling a friend, it could be a cup of tea, it could be journaling, it could be holding your crystals. Like, I love working with my Selenite Palm Stones. It's got a beautiful Hamsa symbol, which is a protective talisman on it. You can get one of those if you don't have one and you would like one. That's on my website. Wow, I still have my website if you watch this video. So back, y'all. So yeah, go ahead and make that list. And when you feel like you need that extra support, pull that list out and choose something off of there. So, my things that work for me, if it's something you've never tried before, it's worth trying. Okay, so I'm back. So I was saying that these are the questions that you could ask yourself. And the question is, am I aware of what helps me when I begin to feel stressed? Are you? If you don't have this list, when you start to feel stressed, once the nervous system goes into fight or flight, freeze or fawn, you're in survival mode, you're going to be hyper fixated on what you think is causing you stress, and you're going to look for what's causing you stress, and you can't find a solution while you're doing that. So reaching for your list and using something off your list will help you. If you work, and it's a lot of things you can't do while you work, that's where the crystal comes in. You can have it at your desk with you. You could maybe use some headphones and listen to something that helps you. So find things that you can do, whether you're working, driving, at home with the kids, or just whatever. Find something in most of the situations that you're in throughout the day, so that there's always something that you can do. There's always a way. Okay? And the other question would be, do I have my personal toolkit ready? A lot of us, we have been living like we don't need a personal toolkit. It's crazy that we've been doing that, but we've been doing that. All right. Let's go to Kali. This is my Kali Oracle deck. I like to close with the Dark Mother Goddess Wisdom. It's so beautiful working with these archetypal energies. And when I say working with them, I mean like really allowing this to be a part of my everyday life. This is not something that I do sometimes. This is something that I do all the time. And I mean every day, committed to it. Life changing. It really is. And even though, I've talked about this, even though I have multiple chronic illnesses and some new stuff going on, and, a lot of things that I've been transparent about, but through it all, I can honestly say, like, my mental terrain is pure. It's not perfect, but it's pure. I can hear my heart speak. My intuition has been saving my life. And intuition is ruled by the right hemisphere of the brain. And the right hemisphere of the brain is how goddesses communicate with us. They also communicate through the nervous system. When your nervous system is soothed, that communication is stronger. And so you're not going through life without spiritual guidance. And it's like having a spiritual mother who can go through life with you and give you wisdom that is not yet something that you operate in. And this is the purpose of doing the archetypal work. So I pulled Kurukulla, and Kurukulla is one of my favorites. I actually wrote a song that was inspired by her. Sometimes I play snippets of that song in front of my videos, but stay tuned because I will be releasing that song so that you all have had people ask me, so that you all will have the full song. So powerful, so powerful. So Kurukulla or Kurukulla can be pronounced either way, but she is a vibrant red pulsating goddess with the feminine power of enlightened activity, infusing our hearts with her capacity for sacred sorcery to conjure and create according to love's guiding wisdom, to receive the divine inheritance of blessings and support for sacred fulfillment. Certain karmic conditions that resonate at a lower frequency need to be cleared away. The lesson is to release, to receive. That's what we've been talking about. And y'all see I'm shuffling. So it's like, no way I can, like, be doing something for clout, making these messages align. I'm using all these different decks. Kurukulla symbolizes a time of rapid movement on your life path and freedom to attract what you need and want. However, you must be willing to let go of negativity and that which does not belong in your world. Kurukulla is a shamanic folk goddess who was adopted into the spiritual traditions of Hinduism and Buddhism. Kurukulla is one of the Kali Nityas, the medicine goddesses of the waning moon cycle, a powerful sorceress, enchantress, and conqueror of enemies. Hers is the realm of magnetism and charisma, spellcrafting, and the power of attraction. She has one face, 3 eyes, and 4 arms, with skin that is deep red. In Tibetan Buddhism medicine, red is associated with the power to attract and the power to subjugate negative energies. Her hooked sword represents her semi-wrathful nature. She can magnetize or she can repel as need be, overcoming negativity in all dimensions and from every direction. Kurukulla is revered as a beguiling yet potentially ferocious emanation of the otherwise serene goddess Red Tara, with her short fangs exposed and an expression somewhere between friendly and fierce. In her 3 eyes, she sees all and frightens away that which causes trouble, while attracting that which enhances joy, bliss, and sacred passions. Everything we just talked about. One of the powers that Kurukulla bestows is the ability to remain open to life without fear. Sometimes, due to past experiences of pain, we close ourselves off from life in an effort to avoid further harm. In doing so, we may unwittingly close ourselves off from the gifts meant for us. While seeking solitude and sanctuary as a time to heal is a wise practice, we need to take care that we remain open to life. We need to balance a heightened need for personal space that's essential for particular sensitive souls. I'm one of them, maybe you are too, with healthy and nourishing connections. Otherwise, we could experience depression and profound fatigue through essentially cutting ourselves off from the revitalizing nature of life itself. Kurukulla's ability to simultaneously attract the beneficial and repel the negative is an extraordinary blessing. Her spiritual talents allow us to pursue our paths with eagerness, openness, and enthusiasm, while trusting that any exploitative, sabotaging, or otherwise unworthy energies will not be able to cause harm. If you have felt an inner conflict around being open, but have also felt the need to self-protect, perhaps due to your sensitivity to psychic energies, the oracle brings peace. In connection to Kurukulla, we can be powerfully defended without being defensive, and incredibly open without being vulnerable to negative influences. For the sensitives and empaths amongst us who struggle with picking up unwanted energy from others, she is a glorious savioress. She empowers openness combined with effective boundaries. This brings more peace and relaxation to the heart, which in turn enhances our capacity to attract what we wish into our lives. While Kurukulla carries a bow and arrow, which symbolizes her power as a warrior goddess and her ability to set us on the right course, her aim is always true, her delivery swift. When we connect with her in a reading, our progress shall be rapid like the arrow speedily flying through the air. We shall hit our mark because our direction is correct and our focus honed. Her presence supports us to gain clarity on where our energies need to go and clear away distractions or ineffective methods and strategies. When she appears in a reading, be ready to move swiftly on the opportunities that arise and feel faithfully aligned with your heart. Her presence also signifies that if something isn't resonating, then do not hold on to it out of fear. Let it go. Trust that the divine knows how to resolve any complicating factors. Despite her status as a goddess of magnetic attraction, Kurukulla doesn't resonate with clutter. Her fierce side repels it. This allows us to align our energies with what is truly serving the soul and to have the courage to release everything else. If it hasn't already been cleared through circumstances beyond our control, which tends to be evidence of her protective divine handiwork. Release, and you shall receive. Y'all, I highly recommend you take this back and watch that part again. Maybe even write down what tugs at your heart the most. I challenged myself to work with her for 21 days by listening to her mantra, which I will put in the description, at night before I go to sleep to reprogram my subconscious mind, and the somatic exorcism that I teach in the coven that I have, and that link will also be in the description. Right now, it's completely free. I did those two things for 21 days straight, and when I tell you the hypersensitivity that I have to energy was less influenced by external things, and I was able to divinely detach from things I used to try to control, and I felt so much relief. Nothing changed in my life except me, and it gave me relief, and it helped me to unlearn and reprogram my brain on a neurological level to not keep doing the same thing expecting a different outcome. Sometimes creating a new habit is actually what we need to be able to receive what's coming in for us. So this is the invocation to draw this energy into your consciousness. You can visualize, intend, or feel, or just pretend that there is a vibrant ruby red light shining in your heart. You may see two beautiful yellow eyes like a wild cat's shining out from the center, an opening third eye gleaming back at you. Perhaps you sense tiny white fangs as her beautiful mouth curls into a smile. Here is Kurukulla in your heart. This is the prayer. Kurukulla, beloved goddess of attraction and subjugation, I invite your sacred protection and wisdom to manifest in my life for the spiritual benefit of all beings. I open myself completely to life, held safely in the ruby red sanctuary of your being. Clear my path to true bliss, Ma. My heart dances with yours in happiness and grace now. May all beings be liberated joyfully into your blissful nature. Jama Kurukulla. Now, her luscious ruby red light, it shines not just through your heart, but your entire being, spreading her joyfulness, courage, and bliss, her blessings and her protection through all dimensions and all directions, bringing benefit to all beings. You become the anchor for this energy. You may sense shifts as negative energies are controlled and then repelled. And a luminous grace increases joyfulness. You can repeat her mantra 11 times. And it is this. Om Kurukulla Risoham Om Tare Tam Swaha. And like I said, I'm going to put the mantra in the description. You can play this chant. You can say this chant 11 times. You can take this back. It's okay if you mispronounce. She told me it was okay. She actually told me that, it didn't matter how country I was, because I was like, am I too country for you to even understand what I'm saying? Like, is this making any sense? Do you understand this at all? And she kind of laughed, and she was like, I'm so far beyond things like dialect and mispronunciation. And she knew that I didn't mean any disrespect. So it's all about the intention of the heart and how you come to her. And what I did when I would go out in public, and if I would feel like I didn't feel safe or needed to shield myself, I would visualize this ruby red light and those 3 eyes in my heart. And by visualizing that, using my third eye, I was able to create a force field around me, and I felt more protected. So much so that she inspired the song that you hear at the beginning and the end of my videos. So, yeah, she is powerful. If there's anything that's hurting you, no longer serving you, hurting those that you love, she will also repel those energies as well. And be sure that you are ready for that, because sometimes there's a part of us that's afraid of that change, and that's why things aren't moving for us. So you want to get to know that part of you. We've talked about fear a lot in this reading, but everything has been set up for you. Success has been prearranged for you, right? And so if you use everything you learn in just this one reading, write it down, commit to it, and this is what I'm going to do day to day. I cannot see anything that could get in your way from this point forward. I really cannot. I really don't. And this is speaking from experience. So I hope that this reading was helpful. I'm going ahead and get ready to get to it and get on the astral and go ahead and do my healing work in the astral plane, because I be busy. I be having some adventures, and I be visiting some of y'all. Y'all be visiting me. It's just so beautiful. I actually really enjoy sleeping. I used to struggle to sleep and didn't really enjoy it and would avoid falling asleep for things that I've talked about before. But now I enjoy it, and knowing that I have the wisdom of these goddesses with me and surrounding me, even when I'm on the astral plane. Like, we have conversations and meetings and all types of stuff we be doing together there as well. And I really love that this is not like something that I'm just experiencing in my conscious life that I'm choosing, but it has spilled over into my dreams, which lets me know how deep this work has went inside of me, that is actually altering my subconscious plane of mind, of existence, of consciousness. All right, y'all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know, like, if this reading help you. Did you know me prior to this? Was this the first time, like, having an interaction with me? And how did that go for you? I welcome you to come back. And if the coven is something that resonates with you, I'm going to put that link in the description as well. But I just want to thank each and every one of you. And if nobody else told you, you are amazing. You don't have to be perfect to be amazing. It's just the fact that you exist in this time. You matter so much. You maybe even matter more than you know. And that joy that you deserve, honey, nothing is going to get in the way of that. This is a very esoteric, hidden knowledge that you just received today. And I know I kind of flew through it and made it seem like it was like, and it's just because I've been doing it for so long. But this knowledge, you don't come by it easily. And a lot of times it's so much fear around these specific goddesses We've been programmed to fear what is actually the medicine for the soul. And of course, the prison planet it's got to do its job, right? It's just doing its job. But us being able to tap into the power that's within us, that is what shifts the paradigm. All right, y'all. Peace.
Yeah. Higher, I take you higher. Higher. Yeah. Yeah. I got this sacred